Hey, Randy Joe here, and welcome back to Dance December, the series where throughout the month of December, we are listening to nothing but dance albums. And of course today, you saw the title, we are going to be checking out Jessie Ware's 2020 LP, What's Your Pleasure? If you've been following along so far, we have covered a few albums that are somewhat disco or disco adjacent, and today I thought we would check out an album that is much more modern in its approach to disco and a much more, I guess you would call it post-disco or neo-disco, a disco revival. I'm not sure how you would like to label it. But either way, Jessie Ware has been at the forefront of bringing back the disco genre. I have heard her album That Feels Good from last year, which I thought was a really fantastic LP. Absolutely loved it. Has a lot of great danceable hits, great production. Honestly, just felt very refreshing. Whereas What's Your Pleasure is one I have not checked out. It came out just before That Feels Good. So, What's Your Pleasure? That's the album we're doing today. 53 minutes, 12 tracks. Let's see what she has to offer here. Let's get down. Let's get funky. Let's kick things off with Spotlight.
Ain't enough to say that I think of you. Words can never do the things that I need them to.
Of how dramatic we get right from the beginning.
And I get more than a dream of you. 'Cause a dream is just a dream, and I don't wanna sleep tonight.
Sinking into that deepness.
If I had everything my way, we'd drive
Really like the
back and forth and back again.
kind of ominous tone to this one. Very low key.
Let you go. If only it could be just a moment. Blow me a kiss, I'll catch your breath. Give me a moment.
Got some really like bassy synths on this one. Really just like very sensual, sexual, and smoky atmosphere on display. This is a really strong opener and just kind of like setting up an atmosphere and a tone. Very gradual. This is very like I said, very low key and very sweet. It's not as direct as the opener of That Feels Good. I loved how, like I said, very gradual that one was. I loved how low key it was. Here's the title track, What's Your Pleasure? Like the whole atmosphere of this one, even this one kicking off. It's a much more kind of darker, more brooding tone than I expected. And very like vintage kind of synth sound to it too. Love her vocals here. Super breathy, very like I said, very sensual. She's a very sensual singer, a beautiful vocalist. Getting quite kinky here, which she certainly never shies away from, that's for sure. A full embrace of sexuality in her music. And there's no shame in that. Oh, I love those keys too, those really weird wavery synths. Love those descending synths there in that whole passage. The overall tone of this record, compared to the record that I'm more familiar with, That Feels Good, I'm really liking the more subtle approach on this one. Great arrangements, great production. Everything feels very delicately placed, and it definitely feels like a record that is more suited for subtlety, whereas That Feels Good is very direct, very in your face about what it's saying, very in your face about what it's doing production-wise. Whereas this one, like, there's just little moments like that all sprinkled throughout that certainly add to a more grand picture. Love this outro. Her vocals just slowly fading into that background, disappearing into the mix. Really great mix too. Beautifully produced. Very subtle, like I said. I love the layering. Let's transition right to Ooh La La. This one already getting kind of funky here. Really great thick bass line to kick it off too. Ooh. Love these mirrored vocals. Going on a nice little wholesome date. Very sweet date. Oh. Not sure what that mallet kind of percussion is there, but I love it. Again, a lot of flavor in these gradual pieces. Treat your lady nice, and in return, she'll treat you with her time. Which is, you know, if the woman's as beautiful as she states, and as great as she claims, certainly worth it. Ooh. Get a little... Oh, I love those spacey effects. A lot of really great dynamic instrumentation here, kind of just bouncing in and out. Like that. Simple chorus, but it works. Bit of a bad boy type, maybe. Love that final passage there. Super catchy, great melody that she sings in. Oh. So far, my favorite, just on an instant listen, just instantly gratifying. Loved everything about that. I loved the production, especially, and the instrumentation here. Felt very rich, very full. And again, tons of subtleties throughout. Not as showboaty as That Feels Good. Here's Soul Control. Oh. Starting with a very metallic sort of synth. Getting a little King Gizzard there with the woos. Get my boy Stu McKenzie up in the mix. Really loving her layered vocals too on this song, especially really showcases it. Like, very well layered. Oh, picking it up here. Completely losing herself in this love. Love that kind of swirling storm of sound. Again, quite shimmery here in this outro. Just a beautiful, again, very low-key cut. I love the very stripped-back nature of this LP. Here's Save a Kiss. That last one, just a good time, you know? Which so far seems to be the ethos of the record. Oh. Not sure if I like where this one's going as much. This tempo and production so far, it's not my favorite so far. This might, I don't know if this is a hot take or not. Don't know if this is a well-loved track, but the I guess drop you would call it there, that build up, very little payoff, honestly. I don't know. This one's not as interesting to me so far.
That last kiss you gave me, I keep on hitting rewind.
Sweet lyrics, though, I will say, but I'm not caring for this kind of rapid percussion, rapid synth. I don't know. Like, the strings sound nice, don't get me wrong, but I'm really not caring for the rapid, continuous synth that's been pretty prominent throughout this whole track. It just feels a little bland and one note for my liking. Almost feels like it would work better at the end of the album too, almost like an end credits of sort. All right. Yeah. I think that would be much better sequenced at the end of the album. Personally, I just feel like with the theme of the song feeling almost bittersweet in this goodbye, perhaps, or this yearning or missing of someone, would work better at the end, to close it out, especially with how dramatic the rising synth felt. But it still was, to me, a more one-note track compared to what we've heard so far, which felt, less dynamic than a lot of what we've heard. That's what I'm saying. Here's Adore You.
I've never been so sure.
Like right away,
If you
I
want
like
to, you can tell
a bit more use of
everybody.
space like this.
Tell everybody there ain't no second best. Adore you, I adore you, I adore you, I
This one's got a very,
adore you,
again, ominous beat, which I like.
I adore you, I adore you,
Oh,
adore you, I adore
those vocals feeling a little robotic.
I wanna give you more, that's all that I wanted to show everybody that you belong to me. Yeah, you belong to me. Ah,
She's getting very infatuated, very obsessive for this man or woman, perhaps. I don't know which way Jessie fully leans, but still, infatuation, that feeling of love, that newfound love, where you're so possessive.
tell everybody, lean in, move slow, don't go, don't go, don't go.
Very interesting synth work on here. A lot more, like dark wave adjacent maybe, or ominous in tone that is very unexpected. It's not as gleeful and not as, hyped up as That Feels Good. There's like, there's a much more darker edge to the whole synth work throughout this thing. Not sure if I like that aesthetic more though for Jessie personally. I don't know. I do love this whole atmosphere though. Very kind of stilted and robotic. There's a slight eeriness to the whole thing. And again, compared to that last track, certainly, in my opinion, a lot more interesting and dynamic. Here's In Your Eyes. Continuing that. It's a very like late night drive-esque tone. Almost like a rainy night. Those strings kind of remind me of like a Bond theme.
There were butterflies moving in the light. Wanna be free from feeling this pleasure and the pain, but it never goes away. 'Cause it's harder to see
Man.
when you're giving me every look I need. I live again, don't wanna be.
Everything here kind of just creeps in. Not just the song, this whole album. Everything, production-wise, feels very creeping. Like this percussion that came back in the background, kind of slid into the mix.
We've been dancing to the song of our lives. And when you're here,
A very soulful, romantic LP so far.
but I'm not trying to fight it.
I love this rotating synth.
When the music stops, when it's time to leave, would you walk away? Would you follow me with no guarantee?
Oh,
'Cause I'm
and it's
not
becoming more
afraid, 'cause I can hardly
apparent in the mix there.
feel like I wanna be free from feeling this pleasure. Dancing in your eyes.
This one's just like a very vibey track, a very strong atmosphere. Not too much more to say about it, to be honest, but very hypnotic with that cycling synth. Yeah, that one, like I said, not much to say. Very hypnotic, sort of instrumental. Draws you in. Just beautiful, sensual track. Here's Step Into My Life. A bit groovier already than that last one.
Look into my eyes, give myself, but it feels so right.
Oh,
Feel your eyes, maybe for tonight.
this one.
Can I feel your body, baby? This is the time to
Oh,
step into my life.
this one. Oh, this one much more majestic. Oh,
Will you catch my eye,
what an explosion.
baby? For tonight, would you catch my body? Don't be scared to dance. The time to step into my life.
This one, a banger so far. Very infectious. Kind of reminds me of our next LP a little bit more, in terms of being a bit more up front. Oh my goodness. Very like orchestral. Those strings reminiscent of a dramatic James Bond scene. Oh. She makes you want to step into her life with how incredibly uplifting, majestic, and exotic that track sounds. You feel like you are, transported and sucked in to her world there. Feels very intoxicating. Here's Read My Lips. That last one was certainly a bit of a banger. Oh. And I love some slight funk elements. We've got funk, we've got disco, we've got R&B. The main genres of love as far as I'm concerned. Ooh, a little kissy kissy there too in the sound effects. Not the first song about her lips. There's something about the kind of funky atmosphere that reminds me of like the early 2000s. The whole aesthetic there, kind of similar, but also throws it back to kind of like 80s in a sense. This album feels like a nice journey in a sense through time. A very abrupt bass here and there. Like there, just a single pluck. Classic. Oh, it's got a bit more prominent there. Trying to seduce this man without just outward asking for it. Seems to be the idea here. She wants to be swept off her feet. Playing hard to get, it would seem. Really like the theme, the ethos of this track. Bit of a power dynamic going on here, you know? Love the kind of abrupt drop of that synth. Ooh, cuts off just like that. Great track, very sensual, very subliminal. Here's Mirage, Don't Stop. Really great atmosphere too. Just the entire album, very cohesive. Oh, gliding across the mind there with that synth. Oh. It's got a nice like thumping kind of production to it, but not sure if it's one of my favorites so far. I feel like I should like this one more than I do, but it's not. It's not doing anything for me. I like the bass line. That kind of sets the tone. I like these little random effects like that. But as a whole, not grabbing me in any way. Could be a grower. Maybe a Grover track, but didn't do anything for me instantly, at least. Here's The Kill. Oh. I like this more romantic melody. Got bittersweetness to it, and a warmth. Also, these strings have been soaring on the album. This one's so much more very gradual. Certainly one of the more subtle cuts. Like I've been saying, I love the subtlety of the record, and this one feels like it kind of suits the whole vibe, the whole tone. Very romantic as well. And I love the kind of drama of it all. Oh. And it's all swirling and coming together here. Really like that one. That one felt very grand in its outro. Very subtle and gradual growth. Beautiful kind of outro. And let's go into the final track here. Remember Where You Are. Which I wonder, you know, that last one already felt kind of like a finale of sorts. Oh. I love how clean the production is and the drum work here coming through strong. Ooh. Elevated right from the start. Almost feels like a musical in a sense. This one's a different focus, very kind of uplifting and optimistic maybe in tone. Maybe remembering an old flame, a past love. Beautiful. Beautiful ascent, beautiful chorus. Feels like a very optimistic musical. I love this very finale effect. I was worried the album already blew its chances, considering other songs already felt this kind of way. But this one is very ascending. And this one just like such a swirling, beautiful kind of epiphany. Beautiful backing vocals, great production, beautiful instrumentation that swirls and envelops like a classic musical. And just a string to close it out. Beautiful, beautiful closer. Really just like a grand kind of finale to it. That final stretch, that final half of it, just continuing to soar as everything blends together. Really great backing vocals, which are there pretty apparent from the beginning, giving it that kind of old school musical finish, very disco-y, very retro-y. Just a great closer. Felt very grand, felt very optimistic, and beautiful, and kind of wholesome. Overall, though, this album is pretty fantastic. There isn't really anything too overtly negative to say. Mirage Don't Stop, I found, was a little bit more, maybe more of a grower. It didn't hit me as hard as some of these other tracks. And Save a Kiss, I found to be, at least for me on that listen, a bit more one note, a bit more one-dimensional. Whereas the rest of the mix, incredibly well layered, very subtle and sparse arrangements. I think the subtlety of this record is really what makes it. And like many great subtle records, I do think that in its effort to be subtle, it does desire and require multiple listens. I do think this is an album that is more of a grower than an instant shower. I don't think, I was going into this expecting some instant in your face, kind of explosive, kind of retro disco flair, in a similar vein of That Feels Good, but I should treat these as separate projects, of course, and in doing so, I have to recognize and acknowledge the fact that this record is much slower, much more sensual, and definitely requires more listens. And knowing that kind of has me kind of eager for the re-listens, because I feel like this will be a really rewarding listen, especially with the very subtle production and instrumentation, just kind of vocal flares here and there, and the backing vocals, everything come together. I feel like on re-listens, I'll pick it up a lot more and grow to appreciate this even more so. But I will say, on a first listen, this is still a very beautifully produced, great record, and a must listen to for the disco revival. I don't think there's anyone quite like Jessie Ware who is doing the classic kind of disco revival today. There's other musicians who are kind of flirting with it, other musicians who have shot their shot, but I don't think anyone has quite hit it as big and have been as authentic while still being forward thinking as Jessie Ware. So, what's your pleasure? Certainly worth a listen. But that does it for today's video. If you like this video, please hit like and subscribe for more dance albums. We're going to finish out Dance December fairly soon. I think we got about 5 or 6 records to go. So actually quite a few more. And in that fashion, I thought I would go ahead and announce the next album we will cover for the channel. And that, of course, will be Silent Shout by The Knife. That was a recommendation from a viewer before past few videos ago, and I've been meaning to get to it, so we of course will check it out for the next video. As always, my name is Randy Joe. I appreciate you watching, and I'm signing off.